And welcome back to the second Danganronpa V3 spoiler cast. I did this, if you guys didn't watch part 1, I'm doing this because I haven't been streaming Danganronpa V3, but a lot of you guys like to hear my reactions and opinions, so I'm doing this at the end of every single chapter. So I'm going to go through quick, because I want to mostly talk about the end, but point is, I actually really liked Chapter 2 a lot. Comparing it to Chapter 2 of Danganronpa 1 and 2, I actually found this to be the most interesting. There are a couple things that I can see are hinted at, and I obviously don't want anybody in the comments or anything to tell me what these mean, but I just want to vocalize them out loud. Because something really interesting happens at the very beginning of this chapter that has had no explanation yet, and I'm now in, like, early into Chapter 3. And I did hear from one of my friends that this is like something really important, but I don't know what it is. Anyways, long story short, is the chapter opens up with like dumbass Gonta, and he's like walking around the grass, and he's looking for bugs. He's like, well, there's no bug. And he sees a rock that just says Horse A carved into it. And then he brings it up when they're all eating. He's like, hey, Gonta see a rock that say Horse A. And they're like, yeah, that's cool, Gonta, you dumbass. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. So, I don't know what the fuck that means, but anything like that in Danganronpa has to mean something, so I don't know what exactly that has anything to do with anything, but it's in the back of my mind. There's also something else with Gonta that keeps happening that I can't ignore, and he keeps bringing up, like, he's brought this up 3 or 4 times. He's like, Gonta keep thinking he see bug, but he must be seeing things. And everybody's like, whatever you say, Tweaker, but that's gotta mean something. What he keeps saying is like, I keep seeing very, very, very small bug, but then I don't know if I'm seeing things. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck any of that means. But anyways, going on into the meat and potatoes of this chapter, this chapter made me love Himiko so much. I loved her so much that I just recently bought a keychain of her at a convention I went to, and just skipping over everything to do with Himiko's magic show was absolutely perfect. Obviously, it was really fucked up. But, I didn't predict who the killer was. I was so scared that Himiko was gonna die, because, like, it was so scary, and she was getting up there with the piranha tank. What I thought was gonna happen was Himiko was going to, like, try to do a magic trick, but then somebody was gonna, like, fuck it up or sabotage it, and it was gonna cause her to die. That's what I thought was gonna happen. And then we were gonna have to figure out, like, oh, well, who fucked it up? So I was expecting someone to have, like, fucked with the piranhas and they would have fallen out of the tank early. So I was so scared. I was, like, playing the whole game, like, nervous as shit that that Himiko was gonna die. And then she comes out of the tank and she's all happy. The curtain opens up and it was Ryoma. And I know Ryoma has his fans. I'm one of them. I like him. But I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the piranhas eating his fucking body, I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, it wasn't Himiko or Tenko or Miyu or Tsumugi. I'm like, oh, thank God. I was like, it was Ryoma. I was like, I breathed a sigh of relief. Again, no disrespect to Ryoma, but I was like, okay. But I just want to say that whole trial was so interesting. Finding out how the killer did it, it was so, like, crazy. Like a 500 IQ, like you would have never predicted it. And I actually said something in the Discord because I thought that Kodaka was going to spoil it, but he didn't. I should have known, like, he throws in red herrings to make you think that someone's the killer, but that it's not. And that has to do with the scene because Shuichi and Kaito have gotten really close this chapter. Like, they start working out in the mornings. Kaito's like, I believe in you, bro, and all this stuff. And it was just really weird because there was a line of dialogue that, like, was a big red herring. And it's Shuichi, he's talking to himself as inner monologue, and he's like, I decided to, trust somebody again after, like, trusting Kaide. He's like, I wanted to put my faith in Kaito. But then he goes to sleep, and he's like, little did I know what happens when you put your trust in people in this place. And I was like, are they hinting that Kaito's gonna be the killer? And then the trial actually happens, and long story short, they get to a point where it's like, well, we've deduced that it's either Kaito or Maki. And I was like, fuck. I was like, if it's Kaito, that's too obvious. I was like, they spoiled it if that's the case. I was like, there's no way that it's Maki because everybody's been like, people have been inadvertently spoiling Maki for me, even though they're not trying to. Like anytime anybody talks about V3, they're saying spoilers without even trying, because I always talk about how much of a bitch Maki is, and I still hate her. But then everybody's like, oh, she gets a lot of character development. I'm like, well, you just spoiled that she's gonna live for a while, you asshole. I was like, even the most minute things I realize are spoilers, or like. So I'm like, okay, well, she can't be the killer because she's still a bitch. And so I was like, it's got to be Kaito. And then they realized that they had like a bunch of shit wrong. I was talking with Andrew about this. One of my favorite things about V3 though is in the trials, the ability to do lie bullets. It is the coolest fucking thing that was not in Danganronpa 1 or 2. The fact that you can lie, you can just say, you can make up shit to make the trial progress is so cool. I love it. I cannot get over how amazing that telling a lie bullet to get the truth out is. It's so cool. Kokichi's a fucking dickhead. He's such a piece of shit. All he does is rage bait everybody and lie and cause huge drama. We'll get to that in a second. But I want to get to the end because I'm gonna wrap it up here now. Spoilers, obviously. You find out the killer was Kirumi, and I was like, oh, I wasn't super shocked because I was like, okay, this is such a crazy murder. Someone had to have done it that was smart. It ain't gonna be Gonta. It ain't gonna be that dipshit. It ain't gonna be Anji. So it's like Kirumi is the only one that's smart enough and stealthy enough to do this crazy killing. And I was always like, she's such a good maid that if somebody ordered her to kill somebody, she definitely would. But here I was sitting here thinking, like, I've experienced it all, right? I've played Danganronpa 1, 2, Ultra Despair Girls. I was like, I've seen every curveball coming. So it's like, well, that was a good trial. We got you, Kirumi. It is sad. She was pretty. She wasn't one of my favorites, but she was very pretty, and I liked her a lot. She was like a more cleaned up version of Seiko Kimura from Danganronpa 3. But then the game decided to crank the autism blast all the way up to 10. Because Kirumi was like, they were like, what's in your motive video, Kirumi? And she's like, I'm afraid that if I tell you, you'll regret what you've just done. And I was like, what the fuck are we about to see right now? And when they pulled in that motive video and you found out that Kirumi was the Prime Minister of Japan, which is pretty much the president, I was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean she's running the entire country? So I was like, that, I could have never predicted that in a million years. That shit threw me for the biggest fucking curveball. There's like, oh yeah, by the way, Kirumi is literally the Prime Minister of Japan, and it was her task to make sure everybody in the whole country was safe, and now you guys fucking lost and she's gonna die. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then everybody was like, well, shit, I wish we would have died because Kirumi should live. And then they're getting sad. And then Kokichi's like, she's just lying to make you guys feel bad. Or not lying, but she's just trying to make you guys feel bad. And then I had to witness one of the hardest to watch executions ever. I would say Kaide's was more sad because I cared about Kaide more emotionally. But viscerally, Kirumi's was harder to watch. Kaide's was more sad to me because of, like, everybody loved Kaide. But Kirumi's was, out of all of the series, actually, the only scene that comes close is Chiaki in Danganronpa 3 anime. Chiaki's death in Danganronpa 3 anime was the only thing that came, and I don't even like Chiaki that much, the only thing that came close to, like, this is actually fucking hard to watch. Same thing in the Danganronpa 3 anime, when you see the tragedy, when it shows Junko and Mukuro do the tragedy in the classroom of Hope's Peak, those are the only few scenes where, like, I wanted to look away because it was actually too much. And same thing with Kirumi's execution. It was just like the barbed wire rope, the saw blades cutting up her skin. It was tough. There was a couple times where, like, I looked away from the screen a little bit. Call me weak or whatever. I don't like to see cute girls, like, being hurt. I never have. It's like it's actually hard for me to watch, and it was just really dark. And I thought I had experienced it all. I was like, wow, well, that was fucked up. I was literally sick to my stomach. I felt emotionally exhausted. By the end of that trial, I was exhausted. And all the characters were too. And then they all go and they're like, Kibo's like, I think we should get a good night's sleep and process what just happened. Like, and Kaito's like, yeah, let's all go to sleep. And then fucking Kokichi's like, hey, guys, before we go to sleep, I gotta tell you something. And I knew something was gonna happen. I was like, fuck, dude, this is good. I was like, no fucking way, man. I was like, whatever he's got to say, it's gonna be so bad. And he's just like, hey, I know you guys hate me because I'm like a dirty ultimate liar, but there's actually someone that's even a bigger liar than me. And he's like, and that's Maki. And then he just reveals to everybody that Maki is not the ultimate child caregiver, that she's actually the ultimate assassin. And I'm like, where's the story gonna go with this? I was like, cool. The biggest bitch in the game is arguably the strongest ultimate now. I was like, the biggest bitch is now the strongest ultimate. And I fucking hate Anji. Fuck Anji. Hey, I'm sorry if you guys like Anji. I fucking hate that bitch so much because everybody's sad about Kirumi and they're crying. And Anji's just smiling. She's like, well, you guys should have listened to Atua and none of this would have happened. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch. I was like, aren't you the ultimate artist? You haven't drawn a single fucking picture. You haven't drawn shit the whole time. Oh my gosh, I hate her so much, dude. I hate her so much. She's my, I think I hate her more than Maki. Because Maki's a bitch, but like Anji's like a low-key bitch. Like she hides that she's a bitch. But yeah. So that's how the chapter ended. It was absolutely incredible. I love this game so much. I will say I commend Danganronpa so much because when I finished Trial 1, I was like, damn, Kaede's death hit me so hard. I was like, whoever is the next killer is going to be a piece of shit because anybody that would go against Kaede's wishes has to be garbage. And honestly, I'm not excusing what Kirumi did, but I get it, you know? I'm not looking at Kirumi like, you're such a stupid bitch, I hate you. I was like, I get it. I get it, Kirumi. And the fact that the game was able to make me feel that emotion despite how dead set I was on hating whoever the next killer was is crazy. And I just want to say one more parallel, and it's really amazing. Kodaka is just such an amazing writer when it comes to parallels because you have Shuichi, who's my favorite protagonist in the series because he's literally a detective, but every time he chases the truth, bad shit happens. And then you have Kokichi, who like is a creator of lies. So it's like a perfect rivalry. Shuichi is the one that seeks the truth at his own expense, and Kokichi is the one that tells lies for his betterment. You know what I mean? And I love that. So like again, Shuichi, he's trying to reveal the truth even though it fucks him over, while Kokichi spins lies to make himself more entertained. And I'm like, that's crazy. And even this trial had parallels because it was revealed that Ryoma gave up his will to live when he found out that he had nobody that cared about him. When he saw his motive video and Monokuma was like, yeah, there's nobody important to you. Nobody likes you and you don't like anybody. So you've got nothing to live for. And they brought up a good point. They were like, Ryoma was the victim and he had nothing to live for. Kirumi was the killer because she had too much to live for. And that actually gave me chills. I was like, wow. Ryoma had nobody, so he gave up his life. Kirumi risked her life because she had so many people to rely on her. You know? She kept thinking of the entire country of Japan. Everybody needs me. I need to do everything. So, again, the parallels between the victim having no reason to live and the killer having too much to live for. It's just like, dude, this is so good, dude. This is such good writing. This game is so great, but that's all my time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the spoiler cast. I'm going to continue to play Chapter 3. We'll see what happens next. I'll do another spoiler cast once I beat Chapter 3. I think I've said everything. I like Himiko and I like Tenko. And I want to say from my last spoiler cast, I absolutely predicted what would happen. I knew that once Mono Kid died during Kaide's execution, that they were going to kill off another Mono Cub. And I knew Monosuke was going to die. But also, something really insane is Monodam. I always had a feeling about Monodam. I picked up on Monodam from the beginning, and he's just like, shut the fuck up, father. We are the new generation. We take over the academy. And then they like fucked over Monokuma, and Monodam's the real mastermind, bro. Monodam is the real. He's the 17th student. So I'm curious to see if they will actually do anything with that, or if that was just a slapstick joke, and then Monokuma's gonna still be in charge, or if like actually Monodam is gonna be the real mastermind.